Do you realize the number of people that I talk to who sit down and say, I have an idea for a book, but they never actually go ahead and write the book? If you're someone who has a great idea for a story but don't know where to get started and how to actually go ahead and sit down and write the book, then this video is for you. I'll be giving a quick overview of all things brainstorming, novel outlining, the writing process, and even a little bit about your book's place in the market. Hello everyone, my name is Mandi Lynn. I'm an author, the creator of the Book Launch Planner series, and I also create courses to teach you how to format your book and design your own book cover. And if you want behind the scenes access to everything that I do, make sure to join as a YouTube member. Otherwise, I make weekly videos on the business of being an author. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon so you never miss a new upload. So this video is actually going to be a part of a series of videos that I'm doing here on YouTube. They're going to be a part of my beginner's guide to writing a book playlist. So if you want, be sure to check out that playlist to view other content like this. But I myself am starting to write a new book. I know, because I actually just am still in the middle of editing another book, but while I'm editing that book, I'm also going to be writing a new book. So that means I myself am in the phase of, I have an idea for a book, but I don't know how to write the book. So since I'm in that phase myself, I thought now would be the time to sit down and share with you my process for turning an idea into an actual story in a book that you're going to write. If you want to learn more about my fiction books and the books that I've already written and published, then be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at author Mandi Lynn Bell. So the first step when it comes to turning your idea into a book is to write all of your ideas down in a notebook. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a plain old notebook or just a loose piece of paper, but write down your idea. No idea is a bad idea. So anything, even if you feel like the ideas don't work together, write them all down. This is just the brainstorming phase. We are taking and accepting anything that pops into our head, writing it down. We can forget about it later, but for now, we're just writing it all down and exploring each and every possibility. If you do want a dedicated notebook and you do want to get fancy with it, I recommend checking out my novel outline planner. This is actually a planner that I designed for authors. It's a planner that I use myself personally. There's blank notebook pages in the back of the book. You can see I've taken very good advantage of these blank notebook pages. I've even added a couple of my own stickers that I designed. You can get the stickers at stoneridgebooks.com. But it's just plain notebook pages at the back, and the front of the book is more templates and guides for you to brainstorm your idea more or to actually create an outline in a story. So if you want, you can get this, take it with you everywhere, or just get a regular notebook, piece of paper, anything will do. Step number 2 is know your market. And I know if you're a brand new writer and a new author, you're not going to care about this step, but I promise you it's important. So you need to ask yourself, who will your readers be? What books are your comp titles, aka the books that are similar to your own book? And what are the genre expectations of your book? You know, do we expect a happily ever after? Do we expect a cliffhanger? Do we expect a huge plot twist? What type of things are typical for your genre? This is going to be very important down the line when you go to market your book. If you want to get super specific about it and do a lot of research before you start writing, which you don't have to do, but there's always advantages to doing this type of research up front, I highly recommend checking out my book launch planner. It's another book in the book launch planner series, like the My Novel Outline Planner. This is another book in the series. There's a page and a couple different templates in this planner, but specifically I'm talking about the ideal reader profile, and these are things that you ask yourself to know the perfect person who's going to read your book and give your book 5 stars. There's also pages in here to talk about your comp titles for your book and different ways to pitch your book. Now, this is a new technique I just started doing where before I start writing the book, usually during like the outlining phase of it, I actually write the blurb for the book before I write the book itself. And this is because when I first started writing, I would write the book. I would sometimes outline it, but sometimes I would not outline it. And I would just go straight into writing it, and then I'd be like, okay, time to write the blurb. And I'd write the blurb and I'd make it sound super exciting. And then I'd sit back and be like, the blurb is actually more exciting than the book itself. And then I realized the book itself needed edits to be more exciting to match the blurb. So that's why I write an extremely rough blurb. And for those of you who don't know, blurb is the description on the back of a book or the description on an online retailer that describes the book to readers to know if they want to buy the book. So I write an extremely rough version of the blurb first and then kind of reference that as I'm outlining and as I'm writing to make sure that it matches, because I'm good at writing exciting blurbs, but not always exciting books. At least that's how I used to be. Step number 3 is to choose your outlining method. So I personally have 2 different preferences for outlining methods. I highly recommend the Save the Cat method. I recommend you read Save the Cat Writes a Novel. This just gives you and explains to you story beats and how they work in books to create a very effective and smooth story that readers will love and hopefully be addicted to. I actually have a YouTube video where I describe the Save the Cat story beats and that writing method. So if you're not familiar with the book yet, make sure to watch the video and then you can purchase the book from there, or I'll also have the book linked down below. But while I love Save the Cat, I will admit I've found it doesn't work for romance genres, which is what I now write in. I now write sweet romance. So I also check out Romancing the Beat. So this is a great book to check out if you specifically write romance books, or as the book describes it, how to write kissing books. It kind of sort of takes the Save the Cat story beat method but turns it into specific to romance books, and I love it, and I think it works really well. So I know a lot of people don't like to follow outlining methods because they think it's this strict guideline that you have to follow, but I promise you it's not. It's more of like a branching off place, and it gives you a ton of ideas. So if you have an idea for a story but you aren't sure how to turn this like simple idea into an actually fleshed out story, that's where these story beats come in handy. Is they kind of force you to throw in conflict in places where you maybe might not have put conflict before. And while you want to choose an outlining method, like maybe using Save the Cat or Romancing the Beat, you'll also want to choose whether you want to outline by paper or use a software. I've done both. I think there's a place for both. These days I tend to just outline by paper. I actually just outlined in the notebook pages of this book right here. It's nothing fancy. It works very well. But maybe you don't want to outline at all. Maybe you're someone who just like kind of roughly does some brainstorming and creates an extremely rough outline and then you start writing. That's okay too. As long as you get to the finished product, that's all that really matters. And that brings us to our 4th step, which is to write the book. So basically, once you do all your prep work, you did the research, the brainstorming, you did the outlining, or maybe you didn't, but either way, eventually you're gonna have to actually write the book. And this is the hard part. This is where we actually have to sit down and do the thing. And there's no magic trick to it. You literally just sit down and write every day until you're done. Or maybe not every day, but just you write whenever you have the chance to write. And eventually you have a finished book. But then eventually after you have the finished book, you have to edit the book. And there's a whole editing process as well. This is truly just the beginning to writing a book. And this is why so many people say, I have an idea to write a book, but they don't actually go ahead and write the book. Because having the idea is the easy part. Executing it is the really hard part, and publishing it is the even harder part. If you're someone who needs a little bit of structure, a schedule, and even accountability, it might be helpful to check out my writing planner. This is actually the first book in the Book Launch Planner series. And it's just a planner that helps you create a writing schedule. There's different prompts in here. Like you can create your ideal writing week and you can fill that little prompt out. You can set writing goals and you can really track your writing process. There's also weekly and monthly spreads. I filled mine out with colorful markers and stickers. I also use writing stickers, so I have these writing stickers I sell on my website, stoneridgebooks.com. There's a couple different stickers, but basically after you're done writing for the day, you write your word count on these stickers and then you go ahead and you put them in the monthly spread to kind of keep track of where you're at. And if you're really into the planning process and planners in general, I recommend checking out the 2025 Writing Planner. It's like the My Writing Planner, but specific to 2025. There's a black and white edition, but I also want to point out the color edition, which as you can see, is very colorful and it has different themes for every month. But you can see here, I did a lot of writing in the month of January, and I have my lovely word count stickers to show for it. So yeah, doing simple things like creating a writing schedule for yourself and keeping track of your writing progress, whether it be in the My Writing Planner or the 2025 Writing Planner, and using stickers, it's a great way to motivate yourself and keep yourself going, and also a visual way of seeing your progress. Again, there's no fancy formula for writing a book and getting it done. You truly just have to sit down and do it and find whatever method works best for you, whether that be using stickers to reward yourself at the end of every day, or maybe you get a piece of chocolate. I don't know. Anyways, if you have any helpful tips to other authors out there, make sure to share them in the comments of this video. Otherwise, that is going to be it for today, and I'll see you all in the next one.